When Donald Trump, with his booming voice and signature bravado, turned sharply to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett during a heated live broadcast and snapped, "Get out," the air in the room grew thick with tension. Cameras zoomed in, audiences leaned forward, and for a moment it seemed as though the entire nation was holding its breath. Trump, clearly rattled by Jasmine's relentless questioning and sharp retorts, thought that dismissing her so bluntly would silence her. But little did he know, the fire he tried to extinguish was about to ignite into a storm that would silence not just him, but the entire room within 7 seconds. Jasmine, known for her fearless demeanor and unshakable poise, didn't flinch. She didn't storm off, nor did she raise her voice in anger. Instead, she let the silence stretch for a beat longer, her eyes locked on Trump with an unwavering confidence that said more than 1,000 words. Then, in a calm yet razor-sharp tone, she said, "Mr. Trump, I don't answer to you. I answer to the people of the United States, and they put me here to hold you accountable." The words hung in the air like thunder after a lightning strike, and for the first time in that fiery exchange, Trump had no comeback. The room went dead silent, every eye fixed on Jasmine. Her response wasn't just a defense, it was a declaration, a reminder that democracy doesn't bend to the will of one man, no matter how loud or forceful his demands. The cameras caught every flicker of Trump's expression, the tightening of his jaw, the flash of frustration in his eyes, and the slight shift in his posture as though he'd been knocked off balance. Jasmine, however, stood tall, her presence commanding the entire space. She continued, her voice steady yet infused with conviction, "You can try to shout me down. You can try to dismiss me. But you cannot silence the truth, and you will not silence the American people. Not today, not ever." The audience erupted in applause, their cheers echoing like a tidal wave across the room. Even some who had entered skeptical of her stood to their feet, swept up by the force of her words. Trump, for once, seemed unsure, his usual arsenal of insults and bravado suddenly useless against the clarity and courage standing before him. Commentators later described the moment as one of the most powerful live television exchanges in recent memory. Social media exploded, clips of Jasmine's 7-second clapback spreading like wildfire, with hashtags trending worldwide. Many praised her not just for standing up to Trump, but for embodying the very essence of public service. Fearlessly defending the principles of accountability and truth. Trump's attempt to dismiss her with a simple, "Get out," had backfired spectacularly. Instead of weakening her, it gave her the very stage she needed to show strength, intelligence, and resolve in front of millions. The silence that followed her words wasn't one of submission, but one of stunned respect, the kind that comes when someone speaks a truth too powerful to ignore. In those 7 seconds, Jasmine Crockett didn't just respond to Trump, she redefined the moment. She proved that leadership is not about volume, but about vision, not about power, but about principle. And as the broadcast drew to a close, it was clear to everyone watching that Trump's command to "get out" had backfired in a way he never expected. For when history looks back at that day, it won't remember his demand. It will remember her response, the one that silenced the room and reminded a nation that courage can be louder than any shout. Do you want me to also make YouTube description, hashtags, and tags for this speech like I did in your previous requests? When Donald Trump turned toward Jasmine Crockett during a heated live television debate and snapped with sharp authority, "Get out," the tension in the room became so thick it felt like the air had been sucked away. Cameras zoomed in, the audience collectively held its breath, and every spectator braced for what would happen next. Trump, with his usual forceful tone and trademark bravado, expected his command to silence Jasmine, to humiliate her, and to reassert control over the conversation. But in that instant, the move that was supposed to dominate the moment became the very spark that ignited a firestorm he could not contain. Jasmine Crockett did not flinch, did not back away, and did not break eye contact. Instead, she stood her ground, letting the silence stretch across the room like a bowstring pulled taut. In that pause, every second felt like an eternity, and the entire audience watched her with rapt anticipation. Then, in a voice calm but cutting with precision, she delivered the words that would be remembered far beyond the walls of that room. "Mr. Trump, I don't answer to you. I answer to the American people, the very people who sent me here to hold you accountable." The impact of her words hit the audience like a thunderclap. Within 7 seconds, the command to "get out" that Trump believed would end the exchange had been flipped on its head. The silence that followed wasn't the silence of submission, it was the silence of shock, of respect, of recognition that the balance of power in that room had shifted. For the first time, Trump had no retort, no insult, no quick jab to fire back. His jaw tightened, his eyes flickered with frustration, and for a moment, he looked less like the unshakable figure he so often presented and more like a man unprepared for the force standing in front of him. Jasmine didn't stop there. She leaned slightly forward, her words steady and deliberate, carrying the weight of conviction. "You can try to dismiss me, you can try to shout over me, but what you cannot do is erase the truth. And the truth, Mr. Trump, is that this nation deserves answers, not bullying, not intimidation, but accountability. That's why I'm here, and nothing you say will change that." The audience erupted. Applause rolled through the room like waves crashing on the shore. People rose to their feet, clapping, cheering, some even shouting her name. Even commentators known for their skepticism of her work nodded in acknowledgement, recognizing that what they had just witnessed was not just a clapback but a defining moment of courage and leadership. Trump tried to recover, tried to reach for another sharp line, but the damage was already done. The cameras had caught the hesitation in his face, the break in his rhythm, and the undeniable shift in the room's energy. Social media immediately exploded with clips of the exchange, hashtags skyrocketing as millions replayed the 7 seconds that had silenced Trump and electrified the audience. Commentators across networks called it one of the most powerful live television moments in recent political memory. Supporters described Jasmine's words as a rallying cry for integrity, truth, and unshakable resolve in the face of arrogance and intimidation. For Jasmine Crockett, it was never about personal victory, it was about something much larger. Her response wasn't just directed at Trump, it was directed at every American watching, a reminder that no one is above accountability, that the voices of the people matter, and that real leadership is measured not by volume or bluster, but by vision, principle, and the courage to speak truth even when it's difficult. Trump's attempt to command her into silence had backfired spectacularly. Instead of diminishing her, it amplified her strength, her clarity, and her unwavering determination. In those few seconds, she had turned what could have been an embarrassing dismissal into a moment that would echo far beyond that stage. Long after the debate ended, people would recall not Trump's command, but Jasmine's response. They would remember how one woman, standing firm in the face of attempted intimidation, reminded an entire nation that democracy cannot be commanded into silence. She proved that sometimes the most powerful thing in the world isn't the loudest voice in the room, but the courage to speak truth when it matters most. And as the applause died down and the cameras captured Trump's unsettled expression, it was clear to everyone watching that the command, "get out," had not ended the exchange, it had created a moment of history. A moment when Jasmine Crockett, with just a handful of words, silenced the room, stunned her opponent, and reminded the nation that real power belongs to the people. Do you also want me to now craft the YouTube title, description, hashtags, and search tags for this keynote?